So let's talk about the Painbody. I've been throwing that word around. How many of you have read Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth? A couple of you? I love Eckhart Tolle. And sometimes reading his books, you know, I have to drink a lot of coffee. They're very, very dense. Like one paragraph says a lot, right? A lot. Well, the chapter that really changed my life significantly was on the Painbody. It really helped me understand what was going on with my abandonment wound. I really got it. So I want to explain why it's so important to understand that. Why is it so important to understand that original wound for us? So after my mother died, after my father died, my mother married a National Park Service ranger. And we started moving around to different national parks. That's how I grew up. A lot of people think, oh, that's so cool. But when you're little, like a big hole in the ground isn't cool, like the Grand Canyon. Like, I wanted people. So, very isolated. But what was really interesting about the parks is you can't have any animals. So I grew up without having any dogs or cats or any animals. And I would read about animals in the storybooks, and I longed for an animal because I had that unmet longing from all the abandonment that was untreated, right? So we finally moved to California when my stepdad got a big promotion. He worked his way up in the National Park Service, and I was a freshman in high school. And about 2 weeks after living there, it was around Christmas time, and my mom, who was the alcoholic, was going to the grocery store. So I anybody grow up in an alcoholic home? Okay, so when we're teenagers, we did a little manipulating, right? Like, if they're drunk, we could we could do things. So we're going to the grocery store, and because I wanted a dog. And I knew that back in the 70s, that's where the dogs were in boxes in front of the grocery stores. There weren't, there weren't rescue places yet. And so we go to Safeway, and sure enough, there's this box, and there's these little black puppies, and that was Inky. And so I got Inky and brought him home. And Inky was so cute. Super cute dog. Well, my stepfather came home and decided a couple of days later that Inky was going to be his dog. That we didn't know how to have a pet. And that we weren't allowed to walk Inky. We weren't allowed to feed Inky, and we weren't allowed to do anything with Inky. So obviously my Painbody wound got activated. I felt abandoned. That I didn't get to have this dog. Nobody was paying attention to me. So, for those of you dog lovers, bear with me. I was in so much pain, I became jealous of that dog. And I was not nice to that dog. I kicked that dog. I was angry because my stepfather gave that dog so much positive regard. And when I needed him, if I talked too much, I just got beat, right? So I didn't like that dog. So secretly, behind everybody's back, when that dog would come around, I would kick the dog. And that was very painful. It had nothing to do with the dog. If I ever have the privilege of working with any of you, say you're a woman and you are a, obsessive love, relational person, I always say, it's not about the guy or it's not about the girl, right? It wasn't about the dog. But I didn't know how to make it about something else. So this behavior starts at a very young age. So one day I came home from school and I came through the garage and Inky was waiting for me in the garage and attacked me. And if I take my jacket off, you'll see I have scars on my arms and scars on my back. And I ended up having to go to the hospital. And when I came back from the hospital, my stepdad and my mom told me that I needed to go find a place to live until they figured out what to do with the dog. Abandonment, not the dog. Are you with me? So I go find a place to live. 2 weeks later, I get a call from my mom. Okay, you can come home now. We've decided what to do. So I go home after school that day, and there was no Inky. They decided to put Inky to sleep. And the guilt that I felt and the energy that I got, it was horrible. So not only was I terrified of dogs. Terrified of dogs. And after I did my work, after I understood about my original wound, I realized one day that it's not about the dog. It's not about the dog. So I had a friend that was going out of town that had just gotten a puppy, and he said, you know, I need somebody to watch my dog. And I had become a healthy adult. So I'm like, well, I'll watch your dog. He's like, well, I thought you didn't like dogs. I'm like, it's not about the dog. I'll watch the dog. I'm going to watch the dog. He's like, okay. He called me like 5 times a day. You know, I love that dog. It took about 5 minutes for me to fall in love with that dog. So shortly after that, I went to the rescue place and I found Lacey May. And we call that having a corrective experience. That's how we have a corrective experience, when we put ourselves in situations that we used to and tell ourselves was too painful. But it was really the old wound that was getting activated that was making that situation so painful. So I like to tell that story because it's a really good example of why it's important to understand our original wound and our pain body.